Well, it's definitely earned me more money. Just like Decatur, they were paying 70 cents more for summer corn there in August. We were hauling corn 100 mile for 40 cents, and we're making 30 cents, and I wouldn't even known that price was probably on there. I wouldn't have thought of calling Decatur, but when you go to the Grower's Edge page, then it takes all that running around out of it for you.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name is Cody Bills. Today is Thursday the 16th for the export sales report. But before we get into that, let's turn it over to the grain hedge trading platform and see where we closed off the day. Corn trading up a quarter penny, soybeans unchanged on the day, and wheat in Chicago up 2 cents with Kansas City wheat declining on the day. Let's turn over to a daily chart, see where corn is after today's change. You'll notice last 3 days we have seen positive price action here for corn. We're kind of bouncing off that low that we saw down there around March 17th time period. Looks as though we're kind of moving back up toward the middle of this range that we've been trading in. It's been a market where both corn, soybeans, I won't include wheat in this, but corn and soybeans have really struggled to find direction here in a meaningful way. We've been just chopping around. And this is just another example where we moved down to the lower side, found some support, and now it seems that we're moving toward the middle of the range. When you look at soybeans, it's a slightly different scenario. You can see that this is a downtrend. You notice we had lows around February 2nd there. We also had lows around March 17th. And then we broke into some lows here in early April. Very, very slight downtrend line there, a very slight slope to that downtrend. Something to keep in mind, though, is that after we did break new lows, we bounced back up, found a little bit of resistance around that 20-day moving average, which is that blue line right there, as well as the trend line from the highs back there in the earlier part of March, as well as the high at the very end of March, early April. So those are both areas of resistance, and I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of move sideways here going into Friday's session. Possibly even trading a little higher. I'll get into why I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see a little bit of strength out of soybeans here. If you look at Kansas City wheat, you'll notice breaking through the lows. Looks as though we are trending lower here. So very, very weak wheat market. Unfortunately, this is really due to the rain events that we've seen throughout the plains. That is what's causing the weakness out of Kansas City wheat. Chicago wheat was able to make some gains here on the day. Now let's take a look at the export sales report. This is something that came out before the market started trading here. And you'll notice corn came in within analyst expectations. Very positive to see 588,000 metric tons sold here. Analysts were expecting anywhere between 400 to 600,000 metric tons. So this was on the high side of analyst expectations, down a little bit from last week, which was 639,000 metric tons. But either way, this was a positive sale for corn. When you look at soybeans, this was an outstanding week. Unfortunately, last week we did see net cancellations. This week we are expecting anywhere between cancellations of 50,000 and sales of 150,000. We doubled the high side of analyst expectations, coming in with 312,000 metric tons sold here this week. That was very positive to see for soybeans, but the price action really didn't reflect it. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if tomorrow we see a little bit more improvement here on the soybean price. Wheat in Chicago here, unfortunately, we did see 47,000 metric tons sold. So 47,000 metric tons sold is definitely below analyst expectations. This is a marketing year low. Last week we had 319,000 metric tons, so this is very disappointing here for the wheat market. And when you look at the cumulative sales here, you'll notice that corn is moving right along. It is ahead of pace to meet USDA expectations. Currently, we've seen 38.6 million metric tons sold here. What we need to see during this time period to meet USDA expectations is 37.9 million metric tons. So we're ahead of that pace, but we are behind last year's pace. It would be nice to see a pickup here in corn sales. As you can see, the red bars representing the cumulative export sales for each one of these weeks. And you'll notice that slope there, it's almost headed for an intersection with the green line. The green line is what we would expect to see taking into account seasonality for export sales at this time of the year. So it seems as though if we do get some weaker export sales, very possible that we start to move to the southern part of that green line. But right now we are ahead of pace, and that's very positive to see. Soybean cumulative export sales right now finally gaining back a little bit of what we lost here last week. We have 48.5 million metric tons sold compared to expectations during this time of the year. What we typically need to see to meet USDA expectations is 45.1 million metric tons. That is a number that we are well ahead of with 48.5. So that's very positive to see. This week's soybean sales, I think, were outstanding, and hopefully we can continue to see that. That would certainly help the prices of soybeans here going forward. And you'll notice wheat cumulative export sales, 23.3 million metric tons compared to what's expected, which is 23.1. So you can see that we've been slightly ahead of what is expected all year long. This week, very disappointing. We finally started to intersect with that green line, which is what is expected to meet USDA expectations. If we move to the southern side of this could only add to the weakness of the story here for wheat. And so I would caution producers here on wheat. Of course, what we've seen is short covering due to the plains drought. Well, all of a sudden we're getting a little bit of rain in that area, and it's causing some very negative price action there over in the wheat market. Other than that, guys, that wraps up today's show. If you have any questions about what we talked about here today, give us a call. The number is 877-472-4607. For those of you who have given a call, I certainly appreciate it. I enjoy talking with you guys, discussing your overall marketing strategies and what you need in terms of using hedging and using the futures market to make your marketing strategy more effective this year. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you here on Friday.